Man, if I wasn't a firm believer that Dave Filoni could single-handedly save Star Wars from the pit of sorrows that Disney threw it into, I am now. Episode 5 nails literally everything on the head, from Anakin in different eras, potentially confirming the theory that he is taking the father's place on Mortis, which, by the way, if you haven't seen my theory video about that, then you definitely should do so, and nailing the story of how Ahsoka becomes this wise Jedi, becoming Ahsoka the White, similar to Gandalf the White's story, while also furthering the plot of the whole show in general. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Now let's break this sweet cup of Jawa juice down. What I really want to focus on in this video is how important the Anakin and Ahsoka dynamics are key to this episode and the whole series as well. Some people believe that Anakin is just a vision of the Force or a regular Anakin, and I very respectfully disagree. First, let's think about how this could even be possible in reality and not just all in Ahsoka's head. It's extremely important to note that in Rebels we actually see Ezra getting his Kyber crystal from the world between worlds without having to travel there physically. He only traveled there mentally. This means that Ahsoka somehow mentally progressed in entering the world between worlds in episode 4. Either that or Anakin did in fact pull her through. As soon as Anakin tells her that she is never too old to learn at least one last lesson, Ahsoka says,
"I won't fight you."
I've heard that before.
If we are going with the conclusion that this all means that these are memories from Ahsoka, then it makes no sense for Anakin to have said that at all, since it was Luke in Return of the Jedi who had previously said that to him, and Ahsoka was not on the second Death Star to even hear Luke say those words. This also means that this is actually Anakin post Return of the Jedi. When we see the memories of Ahsoka, we first arrive at the battle on Ryloth. It's important to note that this is partially from Ahsoka's memories, but I also believe Anakin is evoking her memories as well, both in the scene on Ryloth and on the Siege of Mandalore. In both scenes, we actually see parts of Ahsoka's memories when they are fighting, as well as actual new dialogue that is between the characters about the memories, just like in the Siege of Mandalore scene where Anakin expresses that he doesn't remember this at all. Because he wasn't there at the time, he was actually saving Palpatine from General Grievous at the time in Revenge of the Sith. On Ryloth, when Ahsoka sees Anakin leading his troops into the battle, we see this awesome scene of Anakin flashing into Vader and back into Anakin. And a similar thing happens when Anakin evokes Ahsoka to keep fighting and to fight him. I believe that this is Anakin showing Ahsoka that she needs to fight the threat, even if the threat was once fighting on the same side as her, and to keep fighting whether or not she has anyone beside her in combat. Anakin on Ryloth was fighting for Ahsoka, and Anakin's darkness was fighting against Ahsoka, symbolizing the lesson that I just previously mentioned. This ultimately plays into her role of choosing to not give up hope, live, and to keep fighting for another day. I also believe whenever Anakin was training Ahsoka during their duel that he kept knocking her down and not hurting her to keep teaching her to get up. As we see multiple times, Anakin easily puts Ahsoka to the ground but keeps teaching her, which is why I think that Anakin let her get to a position to disarm him and let him cool down, also symbolizing that she never knows when an enemy could potentially one day be fighting with her. I love how this scene also parallels with Luke choosing light and to not fight, both in a way showing Anakin there are more alternatives to fighting. Another crucial mistake in Anakin's thinking, believing there is only one way to win, and that is by battle and destruction. Really love how Filoni shows us these hidden messages by very few words said, focusing on more of the actions the characters take rather than the words. As Anakin sees that he has completed Ahsoka's final training session, he says to her,
There's hope for you yet.
And then vanishes, leaving Ahsoka to emerge from the waters as a new person. This is very similar to what baptism symbolizes. Now, another reason I am really going to town on this theory that Anakin has taken the father's spot is because we see how Anakin uses both lightness and darkness to teach Ahsoka her final lesson. When showing her the light failed and Ahsoka was still focusing in on the past, not giving any of it up, Anakin had to use the darkness to show her to leave the past behind. The father from Mortis is a perfect balance between light and dark, and the prophecy says that the Chosen One is said to one day take the Father's role in being that balance. Now this makes me wonder if Anakin has now fulfilled both prophecies of the Chosen One. First of all, the one from the prequels that we learn Anakin was said to destroy the Sith and bring balance in that way, and the second one being from the Mortis gods whenever they speak of it, saying that it was foretold that the Chosen One takes the Father's place. I really hope they expand on that and give us some clarification on that. And another reason I love this episode, and this is what I'll end the video off of, is how they give us all of this, meaning seeing flashbacks to the Clone Wars, seeing Rex in live action for the first time, name dropping Leia and Kanan in the first little bit of the episode, as well as furthering the actual plot. After Ahsoka's transition to Ahsoka the White, she uses psychometry, very similar to Quinlan Vos and Cal Kestis, to find out where Sabine went. Then Ahsoka uses a form of beast control to communicate with the Purrgil, and the Purrgil are now taking them to a new galaxy. Now wait a minute. Similar to how Ahsoka transitions herself into Ahsoka the White, you too can transition yourself to become a wise Jedi Knight by tapping that subscribe button. And man, I can't wait for episode 6. And to see what all is going on in the new galaxy with Thrawn and Ezra just really makes me excited. Let me know down in the comments what your theories are for the next episode, and do you agree with my father theory, and if not, what do you think Anakin is? If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button to support the channel, and as I always say, Jesus loves you, and may the Force be with you.